It's Hollywood Haley J, the second generation Bougettoist baddie around. And you listening to E's and B's podcast, honey.
Good morning, all you wrestling sports fans. This is the E's and B's, the bacon and eggs of pro wrestling and sports podcast. And I'm your host, Eddie B. Welcome back. Happy Thirsty Thursday. That's right. Christmas Eve. It's upon us. One more night, and the kids will be all at your feet, waking you up bright and early tomorrow. That's right. Opening gifts on Christmas. I hope you're ready for a good holiday weekend. I hope you're ready for a action-packed podcast here today on this Thursday. Open seating, carry out, dining available. That's right. We're packed full today. We got special guest Hollywood Haley J from OVW. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the sports, what's going on going into this weekend, some playoff talk, some college football playoff talk, basketball's back. Also, everybody's favorite, wrestling. That's right. All this week. Here we go. All right. Happy Christmas Eve. Welcome back to the E's and B's podcast. Like we said, a special Thirsty Thursday edition. Obviously, tomorrow's Friday and Christmas. Everybody's going to be busy, so we figured we'd give you a little extra before Christmas happens. It's a Hood-tastic-Christmas today with Hollywood Haley J on the show here on the Meet the segment here in just a little bit. But we're going to dive, like we always do, right into the sunny side up. That's right, straight into the sports talk. Let's get to it. All right, folks, right off the bat, let's jump into the NFL like normal. 4 games we'll talk about, and also winners. And we'll touch a little bit more on what's going on into the playoffs, which is really close, knocking on the door. 2 weeks left here in the NFL. Who would imagine that, we've made it the whole season, no cancellations, we've had a few postponed games, but no other issues outside of that. Yes, some people have been out. Yes, people have missed games. But all in all, we've got the football went on without any issues other than just a few. First game we're going to dive right into last Sunday was the Jets. That's right, folks. They are winless no more. They get their first win over the Los Angeles Rams. Man, that's a team that's making a playoff push, but they're losing to the Jets. That's not looking too hot with 2 weeks left in the season. I want to talk about just real quickly is the Jets screwing themselves. That's right. You're knocking yourself out of contention for the first draft pick. Now Trevor Lawrence is definitely coming out. That's what I hear. That's what he's posting. I don't blame the guy. He didn't want to play there, and they gave him an early Christmas gift by getting a win last week over the Rams. We'll see what happens with them going forward. We'll talk obviously next year going forward a lot more about the Jets because they'll have an awesome draft pick going into 2021 season. Next up, the Chiefs getting the win over the Saints. It was a quarterback duel. Another tough one, 2 weeks in a row for the Chiefs. My opinion, like I spoke last week, they're not as good as everybody thinks they are. They are great, but let's give credit to the teams that are playing them very close, very good, and not with a full squad. This is 2 to 3 weeks. We've seen the Chiefs play very close, tight games, squeaking it out. And like I said, this one here was a quarterback duel. It was great to see Drew Brees back in there. Still doesn't look 100%, and he admitted that later on in the week. So we'll see what happens for them. They're also in another, tight race in the NFC. We'll talk about that in the Scrambled Eggs segment when we talk playoffs a little bit later on. Hey, so game 3 we're going to jump right into is the Bills getting a huge win over the Broncos. And I hate to say that because I'm a Dolphins fan, but let's give it credit where credit is due. And the Bills, for the first time since 1995, they win the AFC East. Whew, mark it down. We all know what happened after they won the AFC East in 95. I don't know if that's going to happen here. I'm not sure if they're even going to make it as far as they did in 95. A little bit still left to go for them. They got to play my team last weekend of the season, so we'll see what happens there. But great win here over the Broncos, 48-19. The last game we're going to dive right into real quick here is obviously the Dolphins getting a 22-12 win over the New England Patriots, staying in that same division, AFC East talk. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this game is not just because of the Dolphins, but it's mainly because for the first time since 2008, the Patriots are not in the playoffs. Hallelujah! There you go, folks. I said it for you. But very devastating for them. 8 losses this year. Hey, is Cam Newton coming back? Let me know what you think out there in Ease of Ease land. I'm not too sure about it. He says he's more football left in him, and who's to say if he does or doesn't? We'll have to see going forward because he's got 2 more weeks left and he's done for this season, anyways. So that's the 4 games we're gonna we jumped into. Let's hear a little bit of the other winners: Chargers, Packers, Cowboys, Bucks, Seahawks, Bears, Ravens, Titans, Colts, Cardinals, Browns, Bengals getting the win there. Believe it or not, the Steelers have now lost 3 games. That's right, folks. Started 11-0 and now are 11-3. Who would have saw it? Who would have thought they would have lost this game to the Bengals? The Bengals with a struggling quarterback situation. Their top guy, Burrow, going down early this year with a leg injury. Unfortunate for them, but they've just been piecing things together. It's been a very hard struggle for them for the remainder of the season. But this is a very morale boost for the Bengals, getting the win over the Steelers. And, hey, don't look now, but the Steelers are struggling. They've went from first to third. And we'll talk about that more a little bit later here in the Scrambled Egg segment. That's going to wrap up the NFL talk for right now, guys. Like I said, we'll talk a little bit later about it. Hey, let's talk about what starts tomorrow, folks, and that's the NBA. I feel like it just left, and it's right back again. NBA officially started just 2 days ago with the Lakers and Clippers jumping off. Lakers obviously getting their championship rings, but the rest of the season, or rest of the teams, I might say, are starting Christmas Day and the day after moving forward. So let me know what you guys think about that. We'll dive into NBA a little bit here and there going into 2021. Obviously, there's an 80-game season, so there's time to, touch on points and also time not to have to talk about it every single week because it will bore you out. But we'll definitely dive into the NBA going forward next year. Moving things forward here on the sunny side up, you're listening to the E's and B's podcast. Happy holidays. Hey, it's Christmas Eve. I hope you got all your shopping done, all your wrapping done. And just a side note, all of us from here at E's and B's, we just want to let you guys know, be safe this holidays. Make sure you're not drinking and driving. If you're drinking, get a driver. Call an Uber, call a friend, call a family member. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Trust us. Moving right along here on the sunny side up, NCAA football, go. It's settled. We're ready for playoff time. That's right. It's going to be Alabama versus Notre Dame. Clemson versus Ohio State. Who's going to win for the national championship? Those are the first 2 games. Obviously, the winners will face off for the national championship on January 18th, I do believe. But we'll definitely talk about that a little bit later on. What I do want to say is I'm very disappointed on how things turned out with the polls this year on the college side. As you all know, there's always a struggle when it comes down to the voting situation on the college side of football and basketball. It's hard to predict what they're going to put, who they're going to put where. There's so many things that go into it. But us being the couch experts that we always are going to put our teams ahead of everybody else, and that's what I'm kind of speaking up on here is, I'm an IU fan. They've had a heck of a year, and they kind of got overlooked on not only just, I'm not saying they should be in this top 4, don't get me wrong. What I am saying is they should have been considered in the top 6. Their record shows for it. They held their own in the Big Ten. They backed up the game against Ohio State. And Northwestern just proved in the Big Ten championship game that Ohio State is not as good as everybody thinks they are. Yeah, they turned it on in the second half, but the first half, it showed exactly what IU showed for the whole game. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. We'll talk a little bit about the bowl games in the Scrambled Eggs segment here in just a little bit. We'll also get predictions on who I think is going to win those two games coming up January 1st. Can't wait for that. Next Friday should be interesting. Don't forget, folks, this is the last podcast of the year. We will be coming back to you next on January 8th, 2021. We're going to give ourselves a little break, celebrate with the kids, have a good time here with the holidays, going through Christmas and the New Year's, and be right back with you guys, like we said, on January 8th. Have plenty of great special guests lined up, setting forth a new year. I can't wait. We'll be diving into many, many different things, like people that collect cards, that are just joining wrestling, people that's been in wrestling for a while, wrestling personalities, and other sports people. It's going to be a great year, so stay tuned. Like we always say, make sure you pass the gravy, spread the butter, tell a friend, tell a family member, do what you got to do. And keep an eye out on our videos. We got a lot of giveaways still going on. We'll be carrying that out all the way through next year. So make sure you follow the directions, watch the videos, follow us on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the great things. And you could have a great chance to win some cool swag from us here at E's and B's. As we're keeping things moving here on the sunny side up, we're going to jump into the NCAA top 10 right now as we stand. Basketball standings. You know, we're still very early, as we talked last week. But I like to dive into this here just a little bit, just read the top 10. Not much has changed. Few of the records have changed. That's about it. There's been a few wins, a few losses, obviously. But starting off at 10, it's Texas at 7-1. At 9, we got Wisconsin at 7-1. At 8, it's Tennessee at 5-0. At 7, it's West Virginia, 7-2. At 6, Houston holding it down at 6-0. At 5, it's Villanova, 7-1. At 4, it's Iowa, 7-1. At 3, it's Kansas, 8-1. At 2, Baylor, 6-0. And once again, holding it down on the number 1 spot at 6-0, it's Gonzaga. You know, like I said, as expected, most of this hasn't changed. There is some teams to keep a close eye on. Big props to Texas. I know they beat IU early in the season. Iowa, out of the Big Ten, is very hot. And, of course, you know, Kansas, Baylor, Gonzaga, and everybody's favorite, Duke. They'll be around when the time comes, I'm sure. But that's what's going on right now in the NCAA basketball. This is going to ramp up once the New Year starts, and we'll be interested to see what happens when we get closer to the end of all the conference play and it starts to be tournament time, what they decide on what they're going to do, if it's going to be bubble time or if they're going to risk it, and hopefully this vaccine helps things out and we can continue to progress, and hopefully in the future it'll be back to, you know, filling the stadiums and cheering your favorite team on. That's what we hope for. We'll keep a close eye on that. Hey, one more last thing I want to jump into right here on the sunny side up is something that's very cool and it's just very small. I want to talk about. Happened last weekend, and if you didn't see it, go back and check it out. But Tiger Woods got a chance to play a round with his son, Charlie Woods, and it was televised. It was a bunch of other, obviously, golf pros and professionals with their kids out there, athletes with their kids playing in this tournament. It was just very cool to see them two together. Knowing the history of Tiger Woods, watched him my whole life, him going from beginning to where he's at now, and to see his son out there and just the smile on Tiger Woods' face when his son was performing. It put a smile on my face, and I hope you guys will too. So check it out. It's pretty cool. Charlie Woods getting into golf. Hopefully now, you know, in the future, 10 years from now, we'll be talking about this guy challenging for his dad's championships. We'll see. We'll be jumping into the wrestling portion just here in a few minutes, so stay tuned. You're listening to the E's and B's podcast. Happy holidays. All right, keeping things moving here on the sunny side up. We're going to jump into everybody's favorite. It's the wrestling portion. That's right, all 5 brands. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened this past week. Unfortunately for one brand, Impact, we just had the best of 2020. That's what they played for this week on Impact, so we won't touch on Impact all this week. We will note Don Callis and Kenny Omega did have a little appearance on the Impact taping this week, mentioning they're looking forward to Hard to Kill, the match, the six-man tag match, as the Bullet Club will be reuniting once again. They'll be taking on Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann. So it should be very interesting. We'll jump right in here to SmackDown. Last Friday, obviously this happened before TLC, so I'll just run through the winners and losers because we've obviously are going to be talking TLC here just a little bit, the scrambled eggs portion. Winners this last week on SmackDown, Street Profits over Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. We got the Riot Squad getting a win over Tamina and Billy Kay. Otis, our man from Rocky Mountain Pro, he gets a win finally without getting beat up by some chairs or the Roman Reigns family. He actually gets a win over Shinsuke Nakamura. Then we get a Bayley win over Bianca Belair. And they round out the night with, of course, the Owens refusing to go away and threatening Roman Reigns for TLC, as we will talk just a little bit later about what happens there. But that was SmackDown last Friday. Not too bad of a show. If you want to ask me, it was probably a tie between SmackDown and AEW Dynamite this week on top shows. Obviously, Impact not involved. Raw, we'll get into right now. Let's just face it, guys. Last week, Raw's ratings were way down. This week, they come back up a little bit, but in my opinion, this show was not a very good follow-up after TLC. You know, they put together a half-ass card, in my opinion, and it really didn't lead us up to anything going here into 2021. We know that the regular things like Drew McIntyre being the champ, obviously the worst fraction in the world, is still going on Raw. And things like that. So that's why I'm not too excited about Raw, but we'll go through it real quick here. They started the night out with She's Back. That's right, Charlotte Flair making a return to Raw. Man, I can't wait to see. Hopefully that'll spice some things up for us. Maybe that'll change the trajectory here of the way they're going. You know, bring back some more fans. Definitely spice up that women's division a little bit more. And as I'll speak about a little bit later, I think there might be something else up the sleeve for WWE going forward here in the next month or two. But anyways, they started the night out with her coming back. You know, she won the title at TLC as the guest tag team partner to Asuka. I don't want to spoil everything, obviously, but that's what happened. If you haven't seen TLC, I'm sorry. She's back. She's a champ. Night one. It's awesome. You know, she looks great. And I can't wait to see what's going forward. But let's jump right into Raw. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, they got a win over Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. They want their titles back. So that storyline should be what we're going to be looking to the most going forward as far as the women's division there on Raw. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see if they keep Charlotte and Asuka together. But Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, they're going to want the rematch, and I think that's going to be coming real soon. After that, we get the reoccurrence of Angel Garza. He gets a win over Drew Gulak. Then they had the worst fraction in the world, Retribution. Their member, T-Bar, getting a win over Ricochet. Obviously, Ali still trying to recruit Ricochet to the worst fraction in the world. Anyhow, moving along here. The Hurt Business getting the win over Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle. That was a pretty good match. Go back, check it out. I really like what they're doing with the Hurt Business going forward. Now, tag team champions. They're trying to collect all the gold there and take over. After that, Jackson Ryker making his return. Yeah, that's right. He's been back for just a couple weeks, but getting a little match in, getting the win. But Elias there to help and assist, and it looks like these two are going to be quite the duo going forward. So keep your eyes out for Jackson Ryker and Elias going forward in 2021. Then they had Charlotte making her Monday Night Raw return match with Asuka. That's right. They get the win over Lana and Peyton Royce. Like I said, it's just great to see her back. You know, I've missed her, and I forgot how good she is inside the square ring. The main event for Raw this Monday was Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Keith Lee getting the win over AJ Styles, Miz, and Morrison. Now, this storyline's been carrying on for a little bit, And like I mentioned here a little bit later on, I think that it's just they got to scrap it. They don't know what to do with Drew McIntyre, but they also, as we talked last week, have been repackaging Keith Lee and sending him to training along with a few other members there at WWE. So it's going to be interesting going into 2021 if the Sheamus, McIntyre, Keith Lee thing doesn't blow up, and that's going to be the feud moving into the future. We'll keep a close eye on it. Obviously, we know that Miz tried to cash in the Money in the Bank. I do want to touch on that real quick. What a waste of a Money in the Bank this was this year. Let's be honest. Otis wins it at one of the worst Money in the Bank pay-per-views they've put on so far. Now, granted, we know they didn't have much choice with what's been going on with COVID, and that was back in the trying times. Now, they've adjusted, and obviously things are way better. But let's be honest with ourselves. They gypped us this year with the Money in the Bank. Not only did they have Otis win it and didn't lead that storyline into anything, they have Miz take it over and make it worse. And going into 2021, either I suggest this. You don't ever bring Money in the Bank back, or if you do, you make it bigger than ever. Because right now, it's a lost cause, and that's my opinion. Anyhow, that's how Monday Night Raw wrapped up. Not a too bad of a show, but like I said, the ratings are down. They're climbing back from last week, so we'll see what happens going after the holidays. I know there's going to be a lot of people not paying too much attention this next week because we got a lot of things on their mind following Christmas, heading into the New Year, so we'll see going into the new year what Raw looks like. After that, let's jump right into NXT. That's what happened on Wednesday night. Not a bad show. Or pretty interested, I should say. And they, had a decent card. If you look at it on paper, I was telling Lauren, I just not interested. But after sitting through and watching a little bit of it, it wasn't a bad show. It definitely outdid Raw, and it outdid maybe a little bit of SmackDown, and that's just my opinion. Let's get this thing started. They had then another street fight. That's right. The NXT Tag Team Champions, Lorcan and Birch, had their tag team titles on the line in a street fight up against Maverick and Killian Dane. And let's just be honest with each other here. I don't think this was the best street fight I've seen this year. We know that AEW had probably the best street fight, but I've seen enough of them for the year. That's what I want to say. They kind of kept it to the point. I'm not a big Drake Maverick fan. He just doesn't do it for me. But I do like what I call the Goons, Pat McAfee's Goons. And we'll see what they do going into 2021 with these titles. I'm not sure if there's going to be much to be excited about, but we'll keep a close eye on it. After that, they had Isaiah Swerve Scott getting the win over Jake Atlas. That's right, if that sounds familiar, because this match happened last week. They just had reverse winners. It's okay storyline, but let's not feed it down our throat every single week. After that, Rhea Ripley showing up, getting a win over Dakota Kai. We really thought Gonzalez was going to be interfering, but not much going on there. We'll see what's going on between that feud in 2021. Hopefully both those girls progress and move up to the big brand and be challenging with Charlotte and maybe some other people in the 2021 future. After that, he's back. One of my favorites on the NXT brand, Bronson Reed, getting the win over Adonis. Hey, it's just good to see him back. We know he had a tough injury. He recovered. He's looking good. I think with a little bit more work, it won't be long, and he'll be moving his way right on up this championship run that I think he'll be moving on here very, very soon. After that, another weird match, but very, very entertaining. Leon Ruff getting the win over Thatcher, but I think Thatcher was a little bit distracted with Ciampa once again. We know after the match, Ciampa DDT Thatcher and pretty much staking his claim that it's on. We'll see what happens with them coming up with the next NXT pay-per-view where they were going to, already scheduled to clash. Now I think this just adds a little bit salt to the eggs. We'll have to see what goes on with those boys going forward. After that, Russ getting the win over Daivari. And in the main event for NXT on Wednesday night, they had Adam Cole getting the win over Velveteen Dream. Let me know what you guys' favorite match on that was. not like I said, not a bad NXT. There could have been a lot worse, if you know what I mean. But there's still a little bit of work to be done, and it's just good to see some people coming back. Obviously, like I said, Bronson Reed, he's been gone for a little while, so we'll keep a close eye on him. Also, keep a close eye on the little feud we got between Rhea Ripley and Gonzalez, and Thatcher and Ciampa. That's NXT for last week. Let me know what your favorite match was. Let's dive right into the last brand of last week, and that's AEW Dynamite. As you may know, they were a little postponed. They had to come on after NBA, like I said a little bit earlier in the Sunny Side Up. You know, NBA starting and pushing AEW back a little bit. Not too bad. We thought there was going to be an overtime, making it last a little bit longer, but they were just a few minutes behind schedule. That's okay. They had a decent show. Like I said, I think if you wanted to vote for this week, we'll put SmackDown and AEW in a tie. That's my opinion. But they started the show out here with the Inner Circle going up against Top Flight. And I just want to speak on this real quick. I wasn't too sure about putting Chris Jericho and MJF together, but after watching this match, it wasn't bad. We knew with Hager being ringside, there obviously was going to be some distraction, maybe interaction. Obviously, that's what ended up happening as MJF and Jericho get the win over Top Flight. But let me just say this. I'm still very high on Top Flight. I think these guys, 19 and 21 years old, have a huge and bright future in the wrestling. AEW might not be their end game. Who knows what their future is, but for right now, they're learning and they're looking great, and I can't wait to see them a lot more here coming up in the very, very near future. After this match, they instantly jumped right into what everybody was waiting for the fourth, whatever week it is, in a row. It's Sting. That's right. Sting coming out to have a little interview with Tony Schiavone and trying to get a little more out of him, trying to figure out why he's, came to AEW, what his purpose is. And just when you think he's going to tell you, boom, Taz interferes once again. That's right. Team Taz coming out, and they've had enough. They don't want to hear about the Sting talk no more. They're over it. They've heard it for just like everybody else the last 3 weeks. It's been the same story. Honestly, I thought for a second there we were going to have our first little rumble with Sting, and just as Team Taz goes to approach the ring, the lights shut out again, and bam, Darby Allin appears standing side by side with Sting. Obviously, Team Taz backs off due to the fact that Sting has a bat. Darby Allin has a skateboard, so, why would you want to come in the ring with two weapons waiting? But this just adds to that storyline that I think going in the future, we know obviously in 2 weeks, Brian Cage will be taking on Darby Allin for the TNT title. But I think this is getting a little bit closer to what we all want to know. Is Sting going to get back in the ring? And if he does, is it going to be a tag 6-man, or will it be singles competition? What do you guys think out there in the E's and B's land as we wind things down here on the Sunny Side Up? Just finishing up the wrestling talk here, folks, as we're going through AEW Dynamite here. After Sting came out and all that madness got ended, we had a 6-man match between the Jurassic Express, Dark Order, and Colt Cabana. Now this, I'm not a big fan of the 6-man. I preach about this every week. It's almost like Tony Khan does this to make me mad. Let's go back to almost every Dynamite this year. I promise you, folks, if you go back and look it up, there's at least a 6-man match on every stinking Dynamite. It drives me insane. I love this company. I love this show, but man, you don't have to feed me 6-man matches every stinking week. Hopefully going forward, Tony Khan slows this down. Like I said, put them on the pay-per-views. Put it in front of a big crowd, but don't put it in front of me every stinking week just so you can get some of the talent from the back to the front. I mean, that's my opinion, and that's just all I got to say about it. I know I've been bitching about it all year, and I'm going to continue to bitch about it until he stops. After that, we had another little skirmish. They basically got called out on the big screen by FTR, and now FTR will be facing them in 2 weeks. That's going to be pretty interesting to see FTR and Jungle Boy, how well they'll shine the light on Jungle Boy. We all know Luchasaurus is going to come in stiff as a nail and lay his same routine. The slap kick after slap kick to the backflip to the slap kick. It's kind of getting burnt on that deal too, but I'll be happy to see FTR, and hopefully they'll, let me say this, hopefully Jurassic Express, will work up to their level, but I doubt it. Then they went to a vignette after that. It was Callis and Omega checking into their hotel, but let's just put it this way. This was probably Kenny Omega's best promo he's done all year, and he called Phoenix out, basically saying he doesn't deserve this chance that he's getting next week for the AEW Championship. I can't wait. And even Lauren mentioned, because she's not a big Kenny Omega fan, he's getting better week by week. Not only dressing, but his promos. And it's going to be interesting seeing, like I said, we know he's going to be fighting on Hard to Kill on Impact, but he's going to be staying active all the way through. It looks like, he'll be bouncing around back and forth. We'll keep a good thumb on it, and we'll listen to you guys out there and see what you think of how long this Kenny Omega run's going to go. After the Kenny Omega madness, they had the match I was kind of looking forward to, The Butcher versus Pac. Well, of course, Eddie Kingston going commentary side to give his thoughts on the match. But during the match, there was a lot of noise on the outside with Blade, Bunny, Penta El Zero. It was just a lot of chaos. Pat gets the win after a pretty decent match, but of course there had to be more. Eddie Kingston pretending to head to the ring, and as soon as he did, here comes Lance Archer. That's right, Lance Archer to save Pac, which this is getting all mixed up and all very, very muddy if you ask me. I think once again this is leading into my thoughts of you got too many talents teaming up, and you're just trying to throw them out there together. Lance Archer doesn't belong in this group. It's fine to have Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston, but we don't need to mix Lance Archer in with the Death Triangle. We don't need to mix Lance Archer in with Butcher and Blade. Let's just keep it singles. Lance Archer's way better as a singles wrestler, and honestly, I'd like to see him going forward without Jake the Snake. No offense to Jake Roberts. I love the man to death, but I just feel like he's not adding any spice to his game, and I feel like Lance Archer can move a little bit faster and a little bit further without him. We'll see what happens going in the future. But like I said, this was just a little bit of chaos after Pac getting the win over Butcher. Definitely a storyline going into the next 2 weeks, as there's a couple matches in their New Year's Bash, Part 1 and Part 2 they'll have going forward. Obviously, we won't be talking too much about Part 1 because we will not be on the air next week. But on January 8th, we will talk a lot about both of them. I'll make sure to touch base, since we'll be missing 1 week. Keep things rolling here and winding down the sunny side up. We had Dustin Rhodes getting a win over Evil Uno, Sheeta getting a win over Garcia, with a little bit of Abaddon noise on the outside. She actually showed up before the match, got into Sheeta's head. Sheeta had a little bit of trouble during the match, but ended up finishing the match after the match, getting in a scrap with Abaddon on the outside. And if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it. Let me know what you think. Go see what Abaddon did to the AEW Women's Champion. Give me a comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I think it was crazy, but we'll see what the storyline goes for. After that, it was the main event of the evening, probably the best match. Another team that I'm very high on, the Acclaim, taking on the tag team champions, Young Bucks. And let's be honest, guys, normally you get the same old with the Young Bucks, but these last 2 weeks, I feel like they've stepped their game up, they've changed things up, and they've kept me very, very entertained. This match, obviously, kept me very, very entertained. At one point, I thought the Acclaim had the titles around their waist, but just couldn't pull it off. There was classic heel moves from both teams. Kept it very interesting. Just like Top Flight, the Acclaim have a very bright future, and I can't wait to see where they're going. But like I said, Young Bucks maintaining, holding on to the tag titles, and they they will move to fight another day. That's going to wrap up the AEW portion of the Sunny Side Up. Hey, thanks for listening to us here on this special Thirsty Thursday, Christmas Eve. I hope you guys got all your presents. I know I do. I can't wait to see the look on them kids' face tomorrow when Santa Claus comes down the chimney tonight. Hey, like I said, special guest this week. Can't wait to talk to her. Coming all the way from OVW. It's my first female wrestler from them. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait to introduce to you Hollywood Haley J. Check it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, from OVW, I give to you Hollywood Haley J.
Yep, that's the one. I will clap, but I'm holding my stuff.
All right. How are you, Haley?
I'm doing good. Finally getting back in some, well, not yet, but 2021, I'm going to be getting back in some action, and I'll be coming hard, so.
Definitely. We're knocking on the door of 2021. We're here today on Christmas Eve, a special edition here on E's and B's, and a very special edition, first time with Hollywood Haley J. Well, let's get right into it, Haley. Tell my listeners just a little bit about yourself and how you got your start in the wrestling business.
Well, I'm second generation, so I've been around the wrestling business for a long time. And that's really how I got my foot in the door. My mama got connects with everybody, so that helps me out. But I started wrestling at the beginning of the year. And I kind of just took off because I got that personality, you know what I'm saying?
All right. I'm digging it. So obviously in the name, Hollywood is very bright and what should we say? Outgoing. Where does the
Hollywood be different?
That's right. Where's the Hollywood come from?
Well, I got Hollywood tatted on my chest right here. But what happened was this is what everybody in high school and all my sports teams used to call me Hollywood because, you know, I was cocky and thought I was better than everybody. And I started wrestling and everybody used to tell me like, girl, you're not Hollywood. You're too hood. You're too ghetto. So they're like Hollywood. And I was like, okay, you right. Hollywood. We in there. And there's too many Hollywoods in wrestling. But how many Hollywoods do you know?
Exactly. You're the first I know. We'll dive in a little bit into your background a little bit more here as we're on the meat segment, E's and B's podcast. Tell me, who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Of all time, Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero, good selection. Now, do you mimic any of his moves, maybe in your move set per se?
I haven't broke it out yet, but I'm working on something.
Okay.
I'll keep that under wraps until I break it out.
Okay. Well, maybe once that happens, we'll be able to touch back on that and see how things turn out with that. Awesome. All right, switching gears just a little bit for you, Haley. We're going to jump into something a little bit different. Things I like to ask aren't always just wrestling orientated. So here's my question for you. I'm flipping through on Netflix to watch a movie about you. What's the name of it?
The Bougettoest Bitch Around.
Awesome. Yes. Now, is it going to be the story of your wrestling career from beginning to end, or what?
Yeah, and we can have some real life situations in there, you know, because I've been through the struggle. So everybody likes to see that, you know, people are people and they go through the struggle. So I am who I am because of my struggles. I think people should embrace that.
All right. I agree. Sounds like it'd be very interesting. I'm sure my listeners would die to see that. So keeping things moving. Hey, if you could eat breakfast with any wrestler or wrestling personality, who would it be?
If I could eat breakfast with any wrestler or any wrestler personality, I think I would. I'm gonna go with I think I'm gonna go with Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy? All right.
Because that's my second favorite. And, he done been through the ringer, boy. So I would like to hear the stories.
Well, Haley, what are you having?
What am I having? Oh, I'm having some scrambled eggs with some cheese and some onions. And then I'm having some bacon and 2 pancakes. That's what I'm having.
Nice. Love it. All right, keeping things going. That's another good one. We always ask all of the interviewees, Haley, that question, who they are going to eat breakfast with, and we always get a good answer. And I haven't had Jeff Hardy, so that's pretty interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
People are like, what? Wow, who was eating breakfast with you? Me, because he's crazy, and I like crazy.
Well, let's dive back into your wrestling a little bit. Who would your dream opponent be?
Oh, man, there's so many people I would wrestle right now. I'm so young into my career, but my dream opponent would probably be Asuka.
Asuka? Okay. Hey,
yes.
You never know. Keep working hard. That could, things could change, and you never know what could happen. We've seen things happen for Abaddon out of Rocky Mountain Pro, moving right into AEW. Now she's pretty hot ticket out there, So
yeah.
I currently not too long ago had Lilith Grimm on here, and I explained the same to her. You got to start somewhere. That's why I like to shine a light on you people here in the indies and growing from the very beginning and going to the big leagues, because you don't get enough light shine on the people like you guys, and that's why I love to bring you on my show, and I will continue to do that until the end of time. So,
well, we appreciate it.
No doubt. So, just to tell my listeners a little bit more about yourself, you wrestle where at?
I wrestle at OVW, and I wrestle at IWA Mid-South. And I've been picking up bookings from different states. In my first year of my wrestling career, so far, even with COVID and whatnot, I've made it to 7 different states. And I believe that 2021 will bring me 14 more different states. So,
all right. Okay,
we'll see what happens.
It's always good to always change it up and keep it different. Always trying different things. That's why we like to hear that stuff. Hey, if you could change one thing about wrestling, what would it be?
Probably the people that they let wrestle. The people that we run away.
Okay. So why? Just because we run them away?
Because they're annoying. It's annoying to see people who don't really want, the same things that you want. They just want to be in there to be, I don't know, cool or whatever, to have a good time. I don't know. It's annoying because I'm like, girl, go sit down. We got things to do. We try and make money around here. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're in it for the real sport, not just for the limelight and the money, right? That's what we're talking. Okay, I got you. Hey, Haley, if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, man. I wish I could read people's minds.
Ooh, that's not the first time I've heard that. I've had that before. That's definitely a good one, because obviously in the wrestling world, if you could read their mind, you'd know what move they were going to try to attempt on you next, and you would be dominant.
See?
Right,
isn't it? And be like, what? All right, bet.
All right, as we wrap things up here, Haley, on the meat segment, I only got just 2 more questions for you. One of them being pretty simple and one of them being pretty silly. The one I want to ask here is, what is your favorite match that you've wrestled in all time?
So far, I want to say me and Malaya Osaka, because we went 20 minutes and we didn't call anything. It was all walking, talking, and that's my jam.
Nice. See, not very many people can do that. That's obviously, like you said, second generation, so it must be in the blood, huh? All right. As we leave the meat segment, Hollywood, I want to ask one favor from you. Can you give my listeners out there, maybe teach me, I should say, a Hollywoodism or maybe a phrase that you can teach Eddie B?
Oh, man. Yeah. People always say they need a translator, so let me explain bougetto in case you don't get that. That's bougie and ghetto, okay? Bougetto.
Okay.
And then I ain't gonna hold you. I'm gonna slide that in there. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I ain't even gonna hold you. Okay, see, you know that. You hip already. You got it. You know what's going on. What you mean?
You bet, Haley. All right, well, it's been a pleasure and an honor having you on. I can't wait to have you back later on when things get kicking in the career. We'll find out where it's taking you. Hopefully you can travel out this way, out west, catch you out here maybe with some of the girls on this end. Before I let you go, though, I always turn it over to my interviewees. Is there anything you'd like to ask me? Or also, you're welcome to push anything you'd like. The floor is yours.
Oh, man. Well, first, let me go ahead and say follow me on all my social media. You got Instagram, Hollywood Haley J. You can like my Facebook page at Hollywood Haley J. And then on Twitter, Hollywood Haley J. Ding, ding, ding. And do I have a question for you? Let me think. What's the ghettoest thing you've done in your whole life?
Man, there's a lot. We'll keep it PG-13 and say sleeping in the car overnight.
We PG now. Okay.
Like I said, Hollywood, Haley J, it's been awesome, a pleasure. I can't wait to have you back. I'll keep a close eye on you. And for everybody out there, make sure you give her a follow, man. She's worth it. And we'll be keeping a close eye, like I said. Thank you again once again.
All right,
Haley J.
Vote for the hood.
What a great interview. We were looking so forward to having her. It was so fun having her. Glad to learn all about her upcoming OVW career, how exciting her 2021 is going to be. It'll be interesting following Hollywood, Haley J, once again. Awesome guest. Well, now it's time to jump into the Scrambled Egg segment. That's right, this week we got a lot to talk about on the Scrambled Egg section. We're going to talk about last week's predictions that I went for over TLC, see if I got some matches right or wrong. And then this week, we'll talk a little bit about the college football playoffs coming up. Obviously, some of it started already. Some of the wild Bulls names out there. Text me or message us your favorite Bull game out there. We'd like to know what your favorite is. Also, we'll jump into a little bit of NFL playoffs, maybe make some predictions, talk a little bit of wrestling to end up the Scrambled Egg segment. As we dive into the toast a little bit later, you know Lauren will be here to give us her shout-outs and all the great stuff coming up. As you know, this is the last episode of the year. We're going to take next week off, recharge, get things ready to go for 2021. Like I said, we got plenty of guests lined up, so we can't wait to start the new year off with a bang. But let's jump into the Scrambled Egg segment. Like I said, last week we had some predictions on TLC. As you may know, I picked Bobby Lashley, The Hurt Business. I did pick Asuka and her surprise guest, which I thought it would be Lana. Ended up being Charlotte Flair. We'll talk just a little bit more about that here in just a minute. Also, I was hoping AJ Styles would pull off the victory. We all know that Drew McIntyre coming through. Looks like he's going to be pushing the championship through the 2021 season, and we'll see what's going forward next. As you know, here recently on Raw, as we talked earlier, he's been teaming up a lot lately with Sheamus. Sheamus having some issues with Keith Lee. We all know Keith Lee's getting repackaged. We also know his contract's coming up. Let me know what you think about that out there. Is there any chance that he might jump ship? You know, I know he's having some things going on with trademarking his own name, him and WWE going back and forth, so that'd be cool to hear about. Let me know what you guys think about that. But yeah, TLC, all in all, was not a bad show. The only thing I disagree about was obviously the Inferno match at the end. A little bit too much for me. Wasn't a fan of the Inferno back in the day, and I'm definitely not a fan of this. Had to explain a little bit to my kids, you know, why Randy Orton is lighting a dummy, as we all know, in the ring on fire. But as it may look to others, as The Fiend, pretty interesting. So let me know what you guys think about out there. I know that this now going forward sounds like they're going to scramble some things up and maybe repackage The Fiend. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is he going to come back with a whole new gimmick look? Is he going to be burnt up? You know, is it going to be kind of like the Kane story? We'll see. So let me know what you guys think out there. Can't wait to hear that. Also, like I said, they brought her back. She's back. Charlotte Flair back on Raw this week as well, and making her presence known. She's already won a title, first night back. You know, part of the tag team champion with Asuka. Pretty cool deal there to come right back at first first pay-per-view, first night out, and win a championship. Now, my question to scramble things up to you guys out there is, what do you think the future looks like for her? Where is she going to go? What are they going to do with her? Are they going to keep her in this tags team situation for a while, or is this just temporary until things get moving forward in the next year? You know, we know that Becky Lynch obviously has had her kid and maybe is going to be on the path to coming back. So is that in the 2021 future? I sure hope so. But let me know what you guys think out there in the Easy Bees land. Also, another thing I'm going to touch on real quick here. Sad note, a WCW alumni, Kevin Green, also NFL great, big time player for the Panthers, the Packers, the Steelers. You know, he led several years in sacks. He was just a great person on and off the field, and also a great person in wrestling. Sad to see him go early at 58. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and everybody. But not to bring things down here, let's talk a little bit about the college playoff. As we know, it's going to be Alabama and Notre Dame, Clemson and Ohio State. Well, I'm going to give you my predictions right here, right now. Let's start off with the Alabama-Notre Dame. Obviously, being from Indiana, you would think I would pull for Notre Dame, which I kind of am pulling for Notre Dame, but let's be honest. If I'm betting money, I've got to bet on Alabama. Alabama's been tough all year long. You know, they really haven't shown any scare, so I believe that they're going to probably dog walk the heck out of Notre Dame, unfortunately, and we'll see them in 2 weeks. The other game, Clemson and Ohio State, once again, I'm not going to run with who everybody else thinks is going to win. I'm going to go with Clemson. I think Clemson's the better team, and I do want to see a Clemson-Alabama versus an Alabama-Ohio State championship. That's just because I've seen enough Ohio State. I don't think they're that good. I don't think they belong where they're at right now. If you don't believe it, go back and watch it. You know, the last 2 games they played, they barely got by, you know, some teams that weren't supposed to even be in the same vicinity with them. That's just my opinion. All these are just my opinion here on the Scrambled Egg segment. You're listening to the E's and B's podcast. It's the Thirsty Thursday Christmas Eve special. That's right. Tomorrow's Christmas. I hope everybody's ready out there. Like I said earlier, be safe on the roads. Be safe if you're going anywhere. Make sure you mask up. Wash your hands frequently. You know, no drinking and driving. If you drink, make sure you get your driver out there. It's not worth it. Trust me. Moving things along. Let's talk about some of the bowl games. Like I said, let me know what your favorite bowl game is out there. I want to know what the craziest that you like, the name of this year. Let me know. Comment. Let us know what it is. But let's talk about some other bowls that are going to be going on besides the 2 other big games. That's the Cheez-It Bowl. It's going to be Miami and Oklahoma State. That one should be pretty interesting. We got the Alamo Bowl with Texas and Colorado. Pretty interesting. Colorado didn't play very much this year, but they were, you know, pretty impressive for what they shown in the short amount of season that they got to play in. We got the Cotton Bowl, which I think has got the wrong teams in it, but that's okay. We got the number 6 Oklahoma versus number 7 Florida. I hope Oklahoma whoops them. You know, no hard feelings. We got the Peach Bowl with number 8 Cincinnati and number 9 Georgia. And we have the Outback Bowl with number 11, which is bullcrap, IU versus Ole Miss. Kind of a throw-in game there. Like, you know me, I'm an IU fan. I think they are way better than 11. They should be up there in the Cotton Bowl, maybe the Peach Bowl. Give me a break. The Outback Bowl with Ole Miss. Anyhow, the Orange Bowl, looks like we got number 5 Texas A&M taking on number 13 North Carolina, and Fiesta Bowl, number 10 Iowa taking on number 25 Oregon. You know, all these games are subject to change with obviously the COVID stuff going on, but that's just the ones that kind of caught my eye. I'll be keeping a little bit more closer attention to these going forward into the bowl season here. Into next week. As you know, I will not be back until January 8th, but we'll talk about some of these bowl games when we come back in 2021 season. We'll also talk about, you know, some of these people that are going to be moving on to the NFL and some of these colleges that are going to be hurting. So, talking about NFL, how about the playoffs, folks? They're coming up. We're only 2 weeks away after this weekend, actually 1 weekend. And the wild card obviously changed with the extra team this year, so there's a lot going on, both NFC, AFC side. Right now, it currently sets with the Chiefs, number 1, Buffalo, number 2, Steelers, number 3, Titans, number 4, Browns, number 5, Colts, number 6, and the Dolphins holding down the 7th spot. On the outside looking in, though, is the Ravens and the Raiders. Raiders pretty much are out, I would say, after tomorrow, my opinion. We'll see what happens. But the Ravens still have a great chance, and the Dolphins have to win out to stay in that spot. I know that's a lot of pressure on them, especially playing the Bills at the end of the season, but we'll see what happens. I think they can do it. They've seen, the Chiefs and pretty much had the toughest way out here as far as schedule at the end of the season. Look it up. So, they're holding their own. We'll see what happens. But over in the NFC, we got the Packers, number 1, the Saints, 2, Seahawks, 3, the Washington football team still holding in the 4th spot. That could change. That's the most up for grabs spot in the NFC, basically. Number 5 is the Rams, 6, the Bucks, 7, the Cardinals holding down that extra spot. On the outside looking in, but not very closely, is the Bears and the Vikings. Bears 7-7. They're the most maybe scariest team on the outside that could maybe get back in. But let's be honest, we all know that the Giants and the Cowboys are not out of this. If they win out and things happen with Washington, that division's messed up. They should just give whoever has to face them the automatic W, in my opinion. But hey, that's just my opinion. But that's what they got going on here in the NFL playoffs coming up here really, really soon. Things might change, hopefully not, but we'll see what happens. Let me know who your favorite is, who you think is going to win this whole thing, and who you'd like to see going forward. Can't wait to hear that here on the E's and B's. One last thing I'm going to talk about here on the Scrambled Egg segment, guys, is the Starcade from WCW history. That's right, Starcade, just because it's really based around the Christmas time. It was usually a couple of days after Christmas. In the beginning, a few times it was a week before Christmas, but it was always dedicated as maybe their Christmas or New Year's pay-per-view. And basically it started in 88 and ran through 2000. But I just wanted to touch on a couple points that was very good. And maybe if you have time, go check it out here in this break when you're off for this holiday season. But back in 91, that's when the Battle Bowl started. That was probably one of my favorite times. I thought it was pretty interesting how they were trawling for teams, putting guys that's never been partners together, as tag teams, and then going in to face another team just like that. Winner stays, yada, yada, yada. It's very interesting. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's the 91 Starcade. It's when they kind of initially started the Battle Bowl. Pretty cool. After that, I got marked down here 94. That was Hulk Hogan's first Starcade. To see Hulk Hogan finally jumping ship, coming over to the WCW side. That was in 94, would be his first Starcade. After that, I just got another one marked down with Hogan versus Piper. That's 1996. So, not all these Starcades are great from beginning to end. I'm just noting here some of the cooler things that happen around the Christmas time in one of my favorite eras, I should say, WCW time, and just what they had going on for their pay-per-view in December. 97, we all know, is the NWO era, and it was Hogan versus Sting. Sting obviously switched to the Crow-style Sting, very new look, different persona. We now see it today, as we know, here on AEW. But just another good one to go check out. That match, not the best, but a good area maybe to reflect on if you have a little bit of extra time. 98, we all know, was the biggest Starcade. Not the best Starcade, but the biggest thing happened. That's right. Goldberg streak ends. It ends to big, sexy Kevin Nash. And it ends a little shakily. I don't really care for how they finished that story with, the cow prod or the taser. He gets tased by Scott Hall sneaking in as hidden security. Terrible, terrible story writing. I've been listening to Conrad and Eric and everybody talk about here recently. My boy Brian, we've been back and forth. They really blew this up and trashed WCW going forward as far as booking in this area, in our opinion. To go back and look at the crazy way they built this guy up and then to have him lose the way they had him lose. They could have made it a little bit better. He had to lose eventually at some point. We all knew that. But just the way he lost, it was pretty devastating to some of the big Goldberg fans back in that era, myself one being included. So if you get a chance, go check out the 98 Starcade. Pretty devastating. As I said, history-making, Goldberg streak ends. After that, they had followed that up with probably the worst Starcade is 1989, but they had Bret Hart and Goldberg. It was the main event there. And like I said earlier, 2000 being the last one, not really worth your time, but that was last Starrcade. And like I said, just touching a little bit based on her WCW history. Obviously, they had a pay-per-view based around the Christmas holidays, New Year's season time, and I just wanted to touch a little bit on it. Go back, check it out if you have time. Pretty cool stuff to see, and some of my favorite stuff growing up as a kid and a wrestling fan and historian. Well, that's going to about wrap it up here on the Scrambled Eggs segment. Like I said, coming up next, we're going to be having Lauren here for the toast to wrap things up. Tell you what we got coming up for the new year. Hey, also, don't forget, be on the lookout tomorrow night, the last giveaway of the holiday season. That's right. It's the biggest one. We're going to have a bunch of cool stuff. Be on the lookout. YouTube will have a cool video out there with our last giveaway of the year. Obviously, you will not be getting the gifts before the beginning of the year, but you'll be getting them as soon as we get a winner. We also have some other winners waiting. Go back on YouTube, check out our videos, follow the directions on the videos, like, share, subscribe, comment, and you could have a chance to win. Wrap her up, round her in. Here we go. All right. Everybody's favorite part of the episode. It's the toast. Get out your jams, get out your jellies, get out the butter. Let's spread it. And as always, here on this special edition here on Christmas Eve, let's bring in everyone's favorite. It's Lauren.
Hello. Hi,
hey, Lauren,
everybody.
How's it going today?
It's going great. It's holiday week. It's
Christmas Eve.
Like almost my favorite day of the year.
Yeah,
so, love it.
Stockings are hung.
Yeah.
Man, we got a whole day to wear these kids out.
Yeah, good Lord.
But anyways, here as we're rounding down here on the E's and B's podcast, we got a few shout-outs, some things to remind you about, some things to check out, and always to remind you to like, share, subscribe, comment.
Share with a friend.
We got some special shout-outs. Once again, thank you so much to Hollywood Haley J. It was so fun having that interview on this podcast this week.
Yeah,
we learned a lot about her. Can't wait to have her back.
I like her a lot.
A lot of energy.
Yeah.
We'll see if I challenged her to a duel, basically, between her and Lilith Grimm, being the highest downloaded and viewed person this year on the E's and B's.
Yeah.
I've challenged Hollywood. So we'll see how that turns out. Also, another shout out to OVW Wrestling. Thank you so much for all the likes, shares, and the retweets. Shout out to Rocky Mountain Pro, all my people there. Like I said just a minute ago, shout out to Lilith Grimm. She let us into this. And another shout out to Pro Wrestling Crate. Thank you for the awesome crates you've been sending us. Make sure you guys are watching the videos that Laura and I have been posting every month with the Pro Wrestling Crate unboxings.
Yep.
Follow the directions. That way you can learn win some cool swag.
Yeah. Have your chance to win.
Also, don't forget, shop small, support local. Check out the E's and B's merch store available right now where you can get all kinds of cool t-shirts, mugs. What else, Lauren?
Any kind of swag. I mean, they got anything from pillows to posters, of course, stickers. Love giving away our stickers. So.
That's right. Make sure you check that out. That's E's and B's. Go to easandb's.org where you can find all that stuff. Yeah. Lauren's done an excellent job. Our marketing team here has been putting together a bunch of cool stuff, making sure the webpage stays up and running, up to date. There is a few things probably behind, but hey, can't get it all, right?
Yeah.
Also, reminder, tonight is the last holiday giveaway, Lauren.
I know.
How exciting.
We've had a lot of replies to our earlier ones, so.
Yes, and those winners, we're waiting on a few more winners, so make sure you watch all those videos on YouTube or wherever you find them. And also, some of our winners will be posting their pictures and showing you that on our page and talking about that once they come in.
Yeah.
But make sure you check that out. Tonight, we've had a blast doing it all last, 3 weeks here leading up to Christmas, giving away something every week.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. Jalea's been involved. Lauren's been involved. So definitely check that out. It's going to be a big one. It's the biggest one of the month. So make sure you check that out.
Do not want to miss that one.
And make sure you follow the directions. Also, hey, another reminder, we will not be airing next week. We're going to give ourselves a week off and get retooled, rescheduled, and get everything lined out for 2021.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of good guests lined up. We're going to be going to special events once events start opening.
That's right.
So stay tuned. Make sure you follow us. Hey, and in the meantime, go back and check out some of the archive stuff. See what we started with and where we're at now. And make sure you send us some comments, like, share. Make sure you pass the gravy, spread the butter, right?
That's right. Share, share, share. Also, check us out on Patreon. You can see all our old stuff, plus bonus episodes that we've put out. So, also, if you want to get the new unboxing videos and giveaway videos before anybody else, check us out on Patreon as well, as those do drop at least a day, if not 2 days early.
Yes. When we're on schedule, they drop on Wednesdays, obviously. Yeah. But with the holiday season, this being a Thirsty Thursday, a Christmas Eve special edition, E's and B's, with a heck of a guest, and as always with Lauren. Well, yeah. Lauren, that's all I've got for him. What do you
with
got?
A bang. That's right. So I got numbers. We got people who have downloaded, viewed, and we got a lot of new subscribers this week. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment to rep your city and get your city on our top 10 list. So, starting out at number 10, jumping at least 2 spots, we got San Jose, California.
All right.
Cali. Number 9, Washington, Virginia. 8, Anderson, Indiana. 7 is Bloomington, Indiana. 6 is Carmel, Indiana. 5 is Newcastle,
Solid
Indiana.
in that Indiana state this week. We appreciate it. Much love, Indiana.
Thank you to our Indiana listeners all over the state of Indiana. Number 4, and jumping up 1 spot, is Paradise, Nevada. I really want to see what Paradise, Nevada looks like. It sounds nice. Someday. 3, Cliche Friends.
Always saying solid.
That's right. Staying at number 3.
Thank you. We love you.
You are awesome. Whoever you guys are out there in France, thank you for listening internationally. 2 is Denver, Colorado. Not moving from last week. And number 1 again, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Like she said, we love you guys out there. Thank you so much for the support. Continue to support. Like, share, subscribe, comment.
Rep your city.
Follow those directions on all those giveaway videos we put out there.
Yeah.
And like I said, we will not be airing next week. So go back, check the archives out, see where we started, see where we're at. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Give us a shout out. Give us some love.
Let us know what your favorite episode
Check
was
out the
so
E's
far.
and B's merch store as well. Hey, happy holidays. Everybody stay safe out there. Happy New Year. Make sure you definitely stay safe on New Year's Eve, folks.
Yes, please.
Do not drink and drive.
No.
Get a driver. It's not worth it. Promise.
That's right.
And from all of us here at E's and B's, happy holidays. Happy New Year. And we'll see you in 2021.
Woo!
Eat your breakfast.